All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I got Anthony and Kay today. This is going to be a fun one. So,
yeah.
Kay, Anthony, you guys have never been on a live together. So,
No, this is the first time actually chatting, like actually right now.
Yeah.
So other than just like a quick Discord message here and there. So,
Yes.
well, that's awesome. It's a good day to do that, right?
oh yeah.
I'm like Anthony is my he's my like male ninja. That's what I told him.
Yeah, Anthony.
It's interesting to see because you came in here with a different approach, still, but very much some of the same core principles too, and just crushing it with it. So it's back when before any of the softwares that we have today have gotten far more advanced than what we dealt with originally. I was just running data tree. Kind of became known as the kind of scrubbing guy, and because I was the first one to really shine a light on that. And
yeah, you really were actually.
Yeah, so that kind of became the key focus, and you came in and kind of took a lot of the same approach. And so I've always watched you, and I was like, all right, this is very similar. We think very much alike when it comes to the approach.
We do. I'm like, if Anthony was in Charlotte, we would be hanging out. Like, I can like feel the energy. Now I remember. How long have you been in Land, Anthony? Because I remember when I was like kind of surfing YouTube, looking at everyone's channel, seeing like who you vibe with, what program you want to join. And I was watching your videos, and I was just like, that's definitely going to be me, like with the male.
Like mine and Anthony videos.
Yeah. The one in Sumner with the terrible lisp in my audio.
Oh my God, that lisp was the best, the best lisp in the world. I hope you pull it out today.
But it's been 3 years, roughly 3 years that I've been involved with this now, and I just immediately when I came into it, it was you were showing the framework, and then I was like, all right, we got problems with this. Like, we need to clean this up a little bit too. So that's where it really kind of dove deep into the scrubbing and cleaning up the data as well too, and just took it from a very like kind of pragmatic approach where it's like my attitude was, if I can, every dollar that I don't spend sending a piece of mail to a property that I just don't want to buy in the first place is another one I could send to a property I do want to buy. And it's pretty simple, basic idea. Execution back then is very time consuming. Now we can, some with like Land Insights, and you can just go auto scrub for roads. You couldn't do that back in the day. You couldn't.
Right.
This data tree, unchecking boxes hour after hour, like the good old times. And that was, I guess, obviously it's not something people want to do a lot of, and it's not fun. So a lot of people just kind of took the more lazy approach and just spray and pray. And I was like, that's when I looked.
Did you ever do a spray and pray campaign before?
Oh, absolutely. That's what actually the first couple ones I did. And I was like, oh, these are messy. Because I kept getting these calls in for just terrible properties where I was like, why did we even send a letter here? Like, why? And then once I actually started, manually scrubbing through the data, then I was able to see that, okay, about 50%, maybe up to 60%, somewhere around there, call it 55 on average, is stuff we don't even want to touch. And I would say it's almost gotten worse now because we're really looking for prime properties here. So, that hairy kind of property used to sell still relatively fast in a very hot market. People are looking for more quality right now. So I would almost argue that, the amount that we should be deselecting is probably gone up just a little bit more since then, because we used to just get away with a little bit, worse properties back then. But yeah, I've done the spray and pray approach, and it's just never. It was just never as fruitful, and that's what quickly I saw the problems in it, and I want to clean up the data. So,
so I do have a caveat to the spray and pray kind of thing, because 3 of my best deals were all landlocked properties. Yeah. 3 of them, and each one of those have made me over $200,000 each. Because they looked landlocked. Everybody would have scrubbed them out, but every single one of them turned out to have a deed of easement. I literally just got back a CMA for a property from a realtor that looks landlocked. It's set back like almost 600 feet off the road, completely landlocked, marked as landlocked, everything like that. right now, I'm looking at the email right now as I say this. We're offering $300K to the seller, and they're okay with it. I just got word that it's worth like $600 to $700K. It's almost a $400,000 property, right? Everybody passed. It's 33 acres.
Wow.
Everybody is passing over the property, right? Because it's landlocked, right? And nobody would really touch it. So this is actually from a campaign I mailed 3 years ago. It's a dead lead that we revived, and we're just chatting with. But there is a caveat to maybe the spray and pray sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Absolutely.
In certain markets, or it's not necessarily spray and pray. It's okay. Let's inverse the situation, right? You go to scrubby properties, you know which ones are landlocked by looking at the clean data versus the non-clean data, right? Or the landlocked data. Go back and review those and look at those, and then look into the ones that are maybe like 20 acre plus, bigger parcels, that when you look at the map and you actually see like a little road, and then you got to look up the deed. It's a lot more work, right? There's going to be stuff in there, but by doing that, you could potentially dig out something. That's exactly what I did here. I pulled up all the deeds, found the easement, found it had 50-foot deeded easement that used to be a logging road for when they logged it 35 years ago and then replanted it. They converted that road into an easement access point, which is 50-foot wide, which gives every property back there, including the houses that are back there, access. So we would own that property plus the easement, everything like that. So there is something to that. So
there is. I have one now too that AI scrubbed out, and the actual neighbor called me and was just like, "Hey, I don't want to sell mine, but I know the owner of this one. They want to sell." And I was like, "Oh, it does have access, and it has like road access and an easement, but AI kind of scrubbed it incorrectly." What I know AI is getting better and better. What is like your take, Dennis, on like the percentage of accuracy when it comes to stuff like that, like the AI scrubber, the road frontage? Because it's a little,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to give like a hard and fast number because every market's going to be different, right? Because it depends on how like they plot their roads on the maps that they're using, right? So if like the roads are plotted correctly in Charlotte, right, that it's going to be accurate. But if you're in like some defunct little town where, Mapbox really isn't really doing great at their maps over there, it's just like showing you like lines, but not really accurate. AI is just going to read off that. So input is directly output, right? So whatever the input is going to give you your output. There's really no discernible thing. I can't say like it's going to be this or that. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, you're right. So area dependent too.
It is. Area dependent. And we're dealing in rural land, which typically is going to have poorer data. I mean, I've worked in counties where like the secretary of the attorney I'm working with has to drive down and pull the deed literally from a filing cabinet, take a picture of it or scan it, and then drive back. Like that's how it worked. I filed my deed. She literally drove down there. I got a charge for gas. Drive down there. I'm like, what is this? She's like, oh, because the secretary has to drive down there and record it. So we charge you for the drive time. I'm like, okay, so that's how we're still doing it, huh? It's 2020, 2025. Okay, we're going for it. So yeah, it depends. Look at Chris M. He just said he mailed a 40 acre lot, and they would only sell it with the 2.5 acre that gave access. Boom, right there. I just submitted an offer on a property right now with proof of funds, like the seller wanted proof of funds and everything, to buy for 1.23. Well, we're offering 1.25. I think he'll accept 1.371. It's a 1,370 acres. And we're going to take that. It's basically like 1,000 an acre we're offering. It's worth out the box 2,000 an acre as is before I do anything. But I'll chop these up into like hunting properties, 50 acres, 25 acres, 100 acre parcels, and sell them for 2,500, 3,000 an acre on seller finance. That property alone, as it sits, I'm making almost $1 million on just the spread. Completely, it's a landlocked property. Every AI tool out there says it's landlocked. $1 million profit on something that would be landlocked.
Yeah.
So there is a caveat to the whole 100%. AI scrubbing, landlocked. Look into your properties. Don't just trust it. Basically, that's all I'm trying to say. Don't be blind to it. There's money there. Hell, you could even just do campaigns of just that and crush it because nobody else is marketing to them.
Response rate would be crazy.
Your approach towards the scrubbing, where it's like, all right, pull all the data, then sift, as opposed to scrub and then pull data, and only what would get like basically passes the scrubbing. Then you're left with a ton of data of stuff that would ultimately, show up as landlocked, and you still have it. It's categorized, but then you can just go and use it for whatever. And I know you've done like campaigns as well too, where it's like specifically speaking to the fact that this may or may not be landlocked, and give us a call.
Yeah.
So.
Anthony knows a little bit of my inside, but yeah, we don't scrub land, we categorize it. And I have like 20 categories, and everything gets a category. So I know every single parcel in the counties that I've worked in, what category each lot sits in. And then it's just about like, all right, let's redesign our campaign specifically for that type of land, right? Hey, we noticed this parcel potentially is landlocked. If it's not landlocked, we want to talk, basically, and send them a neutral letter, and then boom, get some responses out of that. And I've gotten a bunch of properties from that alone. So it definitely works. Now, part of that too is taking those categorized lots that are landlocked, going back in when you have the time, and like just looking at them, saying anything that's above 20 acres, let's take a look at them. Let's just look at them on the map, pop them up, boom. All right, this one's good, this one's bad, this one's good, this one's bad. So it's like categorizing the landlocked properties already, and really saying like, this is definitely landlocked, but maybe not even, because it could just not be on a map somewhere, so, which I've had happen to me too. So yeah.
So Anthony, what does your business look like today? I know, like when I watched your YouTube video, you were like scrubbing each parcel, going through each parcel. And I know we have like software and technology now. Like what does that look like for you today as far as scrubbing? Are you still just doing email? Have you added a channel, added a VA?
So that's what I've leaned more. I tested leaning more on AI scrubbing this year. Don't necessarily love the results of that. And I also ramped up volume at the expense of less, targeting, and less, just very, just target, like very kind of ninja mail approach. And I kind of loosened up on that, trying to push more volume, because the truth is, when you are sifting through records essentially by hand, even if you have a VA do it, they just didn't put the care into it that I would. And it's like, they're just trying to get through it, honestly. So, and they also just don't perceive land the same way we do. It takes some probably serious training to understand what we see and how we see it from the framework of us actually buying the property, selling the property, going through this whole process. We have a different, perspective on what is and is not a good property. So it's hard for them to actually register that when they're just like, just tell me what to do kind of, attitude. So, but this year I kind of loosened up on the, very targeted approach at the expense, just to hopefully get more volume out. Cause I came in, I started my first year with only 15,000 mailers, and it's kind of crazy what happened just from that too. So I doubled it the next year, and the results more than doubled. I was like, oh, this is rad. But I was like, all right, I want to double up volume again. So it's kind of trying to grow volume exponentially a little bit. And this year, the only way to do that was to kind of lean more on the AI scrubbing. I'm not as happy with it, honestly. Overall, I felt like it was just a lot more targeted. And like when I was just very, involved with all aspects of the data, the pricing, as opposed to loosening up on it, it's kind of more blanketing. Even if it is a little bit more targeted, then it just hasn't been as great this year. And there's a combination of factors, which we'll probably get into, but I don't think it's just that, but I do think it played a part. So this year, doubled up volume and results. And the thing is, and my attitude is like, all right, what's the point of doubling volume if your results get cut in half? Then you're just spending more to get, it's like, there's no point there. If we can maintain some sort of, you're going to have diminishing returns in anything. If it's a law of diminishing returns, it's not, it's a law, it's going to happen. So, at what point is it worth doubling volume if your results get cut in half? Then you just back to square one. And so I'm trying to find that, like, where can I maintain
that balance?
And, And where could we actually see positive growth from that, as opposed to just trading places and now sending out twice as much mail for the same results. So
are you getting, like, when you get callers, sellers that call you back, is it the pricing that you're not liking? Is it the type of parcel that you're getting back that's just like, yes, I wouldn't have picked this? Oh, it's that. Okay.
Yeah. It's yes. There's definitely a lot of properties that I was like, this shouldn't have been in the data set, but I trusted AI to put it in there, and I'm looking at it, it's terrible. And or it's a combination of those two factors as well, the pricing as well too, where I get this and it's like, yes, my pricing was right, not for this property though. Yeah. You know, I go look at it, it's like, of course this is the person that calls me back. And
that's always the fast call.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They're going to call you back and email you and text you. There's
a reason why they keep calling.
You have to block them. Those are the ones, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
I think AI is kind of like, this is new, right? This is relatively new to our industry, the scrubbing and everything. And I think as time goes on, it will learn and be better. But I agree with you, Anthony. You know, I pull all my data. I do everything. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll say no to landlocked, and then they'll pull stuff that says 50 feet of road frontage, and it's not, you know, and it's nothing we can't work through, but it is kind of like Dennis said earlier, like you just, maybe you're just pulling the data and then kind of going through it, or finding a good middle ground for that, right? So,
and there's, like, for example, one thing I noticed with like kind of the AI scrubbing is like, sometimes, especially with engineered subdivisions, the plat map doesn't always line up with what's actually in real life. So, you know, the road might be slightly off from where the actual, you know, the parcel lines show up on the map. In all reality, it's an engineered subdivision. Every lot has access, but half the lots in that subdivision are getting marked landlocked. You know, it's like, so sometimes I'd have to go back and manually pull the landlocked ones and separate the ones that are truly landlocked. I know this subdivision, you know, is all engineered and everyone has access, but it's just not pulling that way. So little things like that you deal with. But I'm curious, like, have you maintained more of just a manual approach with it too? Do you have VAs doing it, or did you play with that AI scrubbing? What was your experience with it?
I've used the AI scrubbing from the beginning. You know, I know you've been in it for 3 years, so you were in it before that was even an option.
Yeah. I think it was created because of Anthony.
I couldn't even imagine being in Landon. I'm like, what in the world? What would I do?
Created because of Anthony and the way you scrubbed, and everybody.
Probably was.
Now it's inland insights.
It became because of
Anthony.
Everybody can thank Anthony for scrubbing. Yes, he's the guy.
Yeah. So I came into the business last year, and so this technology was already here, and so I use the technology, so I don't know the difference. I've never sat there and manually scrubbed. That was just something I was like, I'll get in the trenches of my business, like every single trench, but like the manual scrubbing thing, I was like, I don't know if I'm not going to do that. So,
exactly.
So I've never done it. I've always used AI, and you learn how to use the tools, right, to the best of their capability. And I think that's what you just have to do. And as you know, if you're in the same market, you kind of start by mistake learning those little nuances, like you said, like that engineer subdivision. Like, we know everything has access, but the maps aren't showing it. So you kind of fall into those. So this business isn't like super easy. Obviously, there's all kind of fraction data, and the county data is all crazy. But I think that's what makes it so profitable for us. And I think that is what will keep it profitable for us. But so at the same time, we complain a little bit, but it's good that it's there, because it leaves a lot of opportunity for us to make money, know, and for like the serious land investors, like to really like figure that out and understand their areas and find those honey holes that like the AI scrubbing is not catching, or catching too much of. We can't like expect to like press a button or have a blueprint and it's like, we're millionaires. It just doesn't work that way,
No.
Like I said, I I don't even know how you guys were doing it before the AI stuff. So
honestly, it's kind of good because you're so involved in your business. That's kind of why I liked it, because I was so like, I knew every parcel. And you would scrub stuff. And as you would scrubbing it, you're like, oh, it's a nice lot. And then it would come in. You're like, I know this lot. I remember scrubbing it. And like, you almost like remember the names. Like, I don't know how, but like you scrubbed 2,000 properties and you remember this guy's name and his 20-acre parcel. It's so weird how it works, but like, then they would come in.
It is.
So true.
Side note, Dennis, your camera is giving 4K. It looks really good and clear. I just want to let you know that. I don't know what's going on. The skin is looking good. Like
I got you know what it is? I have my curtains kind of open, so the sun is just shining right there.
Perfect. It's
natural lighting.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's good. You're good too, Anthony. You're good too. I just see that Dennis is giving 4K over there.
It's a Logi. They're pretty good cameras. They're like $50, $60.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they're good. But yeah, no, so I think it's with everything, trust but verify, right? If you trust, like the same thing now, AI comping tools are out there. I don't like them. I'm very like, I don't like them. I'll still look at them and I'll get an idea of a price, but I don't trust that, right? The best way to get a price, comps, right? You're going to look at local data that's sold, proximity and likeness, right? Those are the two main things. And unfortunately, AI just doesn't do that. They could look at proximity, but they can't look at likeness. They can't look at a picture and just be like, yeah, this looks like this. Like, no, like it maybe eventually, maybe sometime. Yeah. But it's the same thing. Same thing with, pricing, landlock, all this stuff. Like trust but verify. You still have to go through stuff. You still have to look at it. That's why there's the manual, like scrub through this stuff. Is this actually landlocked? Is it not? There's a reason why that exists, right?
Yeah, even like you said, the automated pricing. Like I said, I pull on my data and everything, and I look at I pull 3 sources that have their own algorithms for automatic pricing. One demand price, then Land Insights and Land Portal. Everybody has different pricing on stuff. It's crazy.
How the algorithm works.
Yeah, everybody has this different algorithm. And I know it's like one does a little bit better on the smaller infill lots, one does better on the rural stuff. And it's just, it's a little bit all over the place. So I think it's great. We have the automation and AI and everything, but like you just kind of got to get in the weeds a little bit. And like you said, like verify. Yeah. Verify.
And especially infill lots, don't trust like AI stuff for infill lots, because infill lots vary street by street.
Oh yeah, they do.
Like you could be on one street and you're in this school, right? And that's that's 9 out of 10 school, right?
Yep.
And then you go the street over and it's a 3 out of 10. And
ghetto.
those property values are exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So it's like 3 out of 10, like the property values are a quarter of what the 9 out of 10 schools are, right? So that could literally just be one street to the next. So if you're buying a lot and you're like, oh my God, this comp is perfect, but then you look at the house values and you're like, oh, why the house is selling for 140K, but like a street over there, like 700K. I mean, I'm being like, whatever. It's not like, sometimes it is, but like not really.
No, that is the reality though here in Charlotte.
Really,
like,
I know. It truly is. You can be on certain streets and you're like, yeah, don't go down there. And it's like, really? Why? This street, they're selling $1 million houses. And it's like, yeah, but the next street over, they're crack dens that, whatever. Yeah. So don't trust AI because they're just looking at data, right? It's a very black and white, data-driven thing. You got to look at that stuff yourself, right?
Yeah, you got to get the reps in. Like you just really just have to get the reps in. To be honest with you, I have probably over 400, parcels personally, and I remember in the beginning it was hard, and I did not trust myself for a long time. You want to get other people's opinion on things, but like you just have to keep doing it, and you will eventually get better at it. Like. I know people don't like to like comp infills. I love comping infills because I know how to comp them, the zoning, the setbacks, all that stuff. And there's a lot of value in them. Not like the super cheap ones, but like, the nicer ones.
Yeah.
Lots of value there. So
you just work. I mean, honestly, like, I'm sorry.
If you look at the data, when you graph property values, the biggest extreme is at the front end of that curve, which is the smallest acreages too, where you're seeing not just like, 100% above or below. We're talking, 500-600% swings in price.
Oh yeah.
And inside the same county or even the zip code. So see massive swings in price too, and it's hard to really. I'd say under the 2 acre mark, it gets really difficult. Even at the 2 acre mark, it's still difficult. Just the swings you see in prices.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's subjective to the type of house you could build. Like literally, that's really what the land value is basically based upon the house you could build on.
The zoning too. Yep.
The zoning,
can you put multifamily on it? Can you what can you do? The taps, the capacity of the utilities. Yeah, all of that.
There's a lot of like different things, but if like just very like simple things, if the houses in the area are selling for $500,000, a typical lot will sell for about 50 grand, right?
Yep.
That's pretty much where you want to pick it up for, maybe less, right? Or maybe that's what it'll sell for. You probably want to buy it for 25. That's a very simple thing, not without getting into the zoning, all the other stuff, right? If that's what you're looking at, that's pretty much what you got to go by. Like we just sent an offer for a property. House next door is listed for 1.25 million. Wouldn't you know it, that the lots are selling for 145,000.
Nice.
Like it's literally like almost like a 10% of that.
Like those infill lots.
Yeah. So I'm offering 70K. If we buy it for 70, sell it for 145, it's a fantastic deal all day, right?
Dennis, I thought you shut your business down. Like you got all these deals going on.
Yeah.
Is this from scrubbing your CRM? Like what is going on?
This is scrubbing the CRM, networking, talking to people.
That's amazing. Not shut it down. I know you January you're starting it back with mail. I
just haven't been mailing, but I still talk to everybody. I still do business. Like I've had a couple deals go through this year that I haven't sent out any marketing, and just people like bringing me deals and things like that. And like realtors that I know that I've worked with, that they know I close deals, they know I have lenders, all that stuff. They bring me stuff because they know I can perform. So this is why 3 years in your business is where you really start hitting those strides. It's not necessarily because you just know how to market, you know how to do this, you know how to do that. It's because everybody knows you know how to close a deal. So then next thing you know, realtors are calling you. This guy's calling you. That guy's calling you. The neighbors of the property, whatever. Oh, this guy's calling you. Everybody starts calling you because you've built something and people know they could trust you to, they could list it on the market, probably get 200K, but they know Dennis will close for 125 and he's done. 30 days. See you later. It's like, I'll take the guaranteed offer.
Yeah. Biggest deal ever came across my desk was brought to me by an agent.
What happens? Yeah.
Yep.
The one that I just talked about, the one that's whatever, that's an agent deal. He brought it to me. He's like, hey, here we go. Like, and that'll make, if we get it. And he's like, I'll run point on it. All you need to do is just bring the lenders in. I'll make everything work. So I'm like, this sounds too good to be true. You're going to do everything and I'm going to make like more than $500,000. Okay. Yeah. That's nice. Like, I'm game.
Nice.
So yeah.
I never had an agent bring me anything. I have one right now. She was speaking to me yesterday about it. And she's going to bring it to me. It's supposed to be a large deal. So we'll see. Yeah. See if it's any meat on the bone there.
Those are honestly some of the best ones because you start dealing with, like, when you're dealing with big properties and big pieces of land too, it is like your average retail buyer does not have $1 million just throw at the wall when it comes to this big chunk of land. It's just not, unless they're going to go do something with it too. So, some of those bigger ones, it's like the agents know too that this is a select group of people who actually might consider this. And that's why they bring it to someone like us as well too. We're someone they know who can play ball, and this is our field of practice, is working with land and understanding it and what we can do with it. So
when I talked to the seller about this big parcel, he's like, what? He's listed it before and it didn't sell, right? Because it's just such a big piece of land. What do you do with it, right? Not everybody's going to come in and pay $1.5 million or whatever the case may be for a parcel. He listed it at 1.9 or something like that, and he had some bites but nothing really substantial. And I talked to him and I was like, honestly, here's what I'm going to do. I'll tell you, I'm going to survey the property. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to subdivide it into, acreage sizes that people could actually bite and chew on. Right. So buying a 20-acre parcel for like 50 grand is much more attainable than buying 1,300 acres for $1.5 million. Right. So that's what I'm going to do. And he's like, that's a good idea. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a good idea. And he's like, but he's like, you're going to spend all that money and risk that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend probably $150,000, $200,000 prepping it, getting ready to, do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I make my money over time. And I also can't deliver all these lots, 100 lots to the market in one shot.
No. Yeah.
You'll completely tank the market, right? It's like supply goes way up, demand. I mean, it's going to completely inverse. So I was like, it's a scaled approach where I'm going to slowly over time sell 10 lots here, 20 lots here, a couple lots here, whatever, and make my money over 2 to 3 years instead of one day, right? So he's like, yeah, it's a really good idea. I'm like, it is. But he's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, exactly. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in. Like,
I don't expect the realtor to do those things, but I do expect the realtors to consult their clients, their sellers, on ideas like that, right? That's what realtors should be doing. But I just don't think I don't think they think about it as creatively as we do, because like our percentage or our win at the end, our check at the end is a lot bigger. I think even on like $80,000 parcel, right, compared to the commission they get. So like our wheels are turning. We're trying to be creative. We're trying to figure out like how can we get this sold. And I think it's just kind of a different mindset.
So the way to get them onto your mindset is talk about opportunity for them. So the reason why I get a lot of deals brought to me, I said, hey, if you bring me a deal, I'll partner with you on it. You don't just become the realtor, you become my partner. Let's work together on it. And they'll do everything. So because I said that, he's brought me like 10 plus deals, and we've had a bunch that, we tried to go through with, they just didn't work out. But he's like, this one I'm really confident at. And he's like, I know it's not a parcel anybody could build on. It's not that type of parcel. It's definitely something that, like it's something that is going to take particular buyers. But you bring somebody a 20-acre lot that's perfect for hunting, they're going to buy it all day long.
Oh yeah, those hunting lots they're grabbing those up. Yeah.
So if you talk to your realtors and you work with them and say, hey, if you ever come across a lot that looks like it's a great like property to chop up or whatever the case may be, I'm not asking you to just bring it to me. I'm asking you to work with me on it. Like if the seller's not willing to do that stuff, I am. So bring it to me. You get the side where you get to sell the property, right? We'll buy it. You get paid that end. And then you get to sell all the lots as well down the road, when we do that. And hell, I'll even give you equity in the deal too. Let's just work together. And then they start thinking, they're like, oh shit. So I could sell this property for $1 million, make a big chunk of change, then sell it again for 2-3 million, make a big chunk of change and make percentage of equity. It's like, why wouldn't I bring it to Dennis? Right. It's like a no brainer. Right.
Yeah.
And it cost me $0 to get that deal.
DJ is saying that you're talking him off. He said we're talking him off the fence. We're working with realtors.
Oh my God. Anybody who's not working with realtors is dumb because realtors are the
Don't
people.
say dumb, Dennis. Nice words.
No, it's not. You are dumb because you need to work with realtors. Realtors are the people that are boots on the ground. They're there. They know the properties. They'll walk it and be like, no, this is a junk lot. I know Pitt County, North Carolina. This area floods. It's absolute trash. This area is fantastic. Work here. Don't work here.
I think it's that barrier in finding a good
Hey,
realtor. That's what it is.
If you're brand new, you know what?
Not all realtors are created equal, too.
If you're brand new, you should be working with realtors because you don't know the business yet.
Yeah.
So Chris was saying not all realtors are created equal, and I 100% agree with that. But the ones that are good, they're worth their weight in gold.
You could build your business.
Killer agents are awesome.
You could build your business around good agents. Like do nothing but work with that one agent. That's good. You could build your business 100% around them.
Yeah.
You ask them, where do I mail? What properties do I target? What are buyers asking for? Right. And they'll clearly tell you, hey, look, this market, go hit this market, this specific zip code. Buyers are looking for properties here. I don't see anything listed. You're right. You don't, because there's nothing listed.
Yep.
Right. So it won't show up on this, it won't show up on that.
Those are the best markets when it's nothing listed. Yeah. And those are the best. But I think the biggest hurdle for new people when they come into the business working with realtors is that like the A-player realtors know they're A-player realtors, right? And so like
ask for a referral.
They're not going to answer the email or the call when you ask them about your, $30,000 double close. They're just not. It's too much work. I'm a realtor, right? I'm a licensed realtor. So it's a lot of paperwork. It is a lot of time. So I think honestly, like being new, I would try to find a deal that is like over $100,000 market value, right? Get a good deal where you can buy it and take it down, and then you bring that to a realtor, right? Then you find a realtor
handsomely.
Yep, exactly. You just got to come in with something juicy that's like not risky, because they hear all these stories about investors and wholesalers, and they probably had something crazy happen. And it's just like, you don't even want to try to enter the space like with all those risks when you're coming in new. But then like once you do that deal, right, with the realtor and everybody's happy, everybody wins, now you can bring them, now they're going to work with you on the smaller deals too, and whatever else you bring them. But I think it's hard when you go out there and you're like, oh, hey, realtor, I'm an investor, and we've never spoken before, and I have this lot, and no, I don't own it yet. No, like, yeah. So,
and I don't plan on owning it either. What do you mean?
What's the zoning? Oh, I don't know the zoning. What? Like, you're new. So much stuff you don't know. And I think it's really hard to expect like A player realtor to be like, oh yeah, C player investor, come on and join my team.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. So DJ Destroy just asked, okay, how do you find a good realtor, right? An experienced land realtor. This is the simplest thing. Okay. There's two different ways, right? If you have Land Insights, you go on Land Insights, you pull the realtor, you look at the past listings. Here's the simplest thing. Find the area in the, like, that you're working, right? I literally just did this because I have a property that the realtor I was working with, I'm getting rid of them. So I'm looking for another realtor. So, and I've asked for referrals. And actually, the guy that I'm getting rid of, he was a referral. He's a great guy. It just didn't work out for us. He's gotten busy. But I went into a market and I looked at recent, like, current listings and sold listings within the last 2 years. And I looked at the ones that I liked best. Which listing looks like they put the effort towards and actually did the job, right? Do they have good pictures? Does the property look nice? Is the listing presentable? What does the hero picture look like? What does the listing description look like? Does it look like the seller actually was active? How fast did it go pending? All those little things, right? Once you start looking at that, you're going to quickly find the good realtors versus the bad realtors. Then just pick up the phone and call them. Hey, I have a lot over here, blah, blah, blah. And then you get right into it. I text, I'm talking to one realtor in Georgia that I text like 5 realtors. I shoot him a text first, just saying, hey, I have a property, blah, blah, blah. This is it. If you want to chat, let me know. I text her before the text like even went through. She called me. Instantly, I know she's a good realtor. Why? Because she called me
right away.
Right away, like no hesitation. She's like, hey, no problem. I saw your text. I'll look into the property. Like, just give me tomorrow. We'll chat tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to introduce myself. Boom. I'm like, I'm going to work with you. Like, if you're going to do that, 100% I'm going to work with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I would just like, not only the, like, looking around the area that you work in and just find like what listings you like and the quality listings that they should be putting effort and attention into the quality listing. You'll start seeing like 1, 2, 3 names keep popping up on all the land, where it's like those are your killers out there. And in particular, just volume alone is not always a great indication, because that's like kind of the realtor research report. I've had some kind of terrible realtors come as a byproduct of that.
Sometimes they work a subdivision only and list like 50 lots in a single subdivision. And that doesn't mean
with that, they have too much going on and can't attend to everything properly.
Or they only know that subdivision.
Yeah. So there's a couple different things there, but like ultimately I have found some of the best people from just looking for a listing that I like, and also seeing if their name keeps popping up, and also for similar types of properties with what we're dealing with here. So they sold a couple of ones that are all these hunting lots in this specific area. They know this area. They understand these properties.
You know how to, a hidden way to find a good realtor is look for not necessarily the listing agent, but look for who the buyer's agent was. If you go on a lot of the listings, it'll say listed by, sold by, bought by, or whatever it says, right? Look for those people, then look at their listings and their properties they've worked with. And then all of a sudden you start seeing like, wow, this person doesn't have a lot of listings, but damn, do they bring a lot of buyers. And some people are just really good buyer's agents, and they tend to be the best. Yeah. So they tend to be the best because they have pocket buyers that are ready to buy properties all the time.
Yep.
And those tend to be like the best agents. I'm an agent myself. I am the worst agent to work with ever. You don't want to work with me. I suck at it. I'm not good at it. That's why I'm not listing properties. I don't do any of that. Whatever. To have my license, I'm done with that. But anyways, all right, we're 40 minutes in. We really didn't touch on mail that much.
It's your fault, Dennis. It's your fault.
It's so difficult. This is not-
I'm like, we have an agenda. We're going to stick to it, guys. We had like a team huddle before this. Nope.
Agenda. What's that? Yeah.
What
well,
is it? No, but seriously, with the agents, just really quick story on that.
God, we're so bad.
I know. Like you have to, like, I find that you do. I do a lot of the work for the agents up front, right? You have to know, like, is it an infill lot? Is it a hunting ground lot? Is it a development lot? And then you have to find an agent that is familiar in that area that does that. Because if you get an infill guy in that county, right? Maybe he does a lot of infills, and you bring him to look at your hunting ground. I did this, and he's like, "Oh, this shit is terrible. I would never touch it with a 10-foot pole, right?" Yeah. And it's like creek, beautiful timber. I mean, 70 acres. Yep. Other agent, he's like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. This is going to sell." So they have their own biases, and just be aware of that. You have to know up front, like, what kind of property is this? You know, have your pricing too. You got to kind of know your pricing too a little bit, and not depend on them so much, and then find the right realtor in that category.
Trust but verify. Always. Yes. Know your pricing, and then let them tell you what they think the pricing is. And if it's close,
yes.
You know, I don't tell them what my pricing is most of the time, but I'll let them tell me what they think my pricing is. And then I'm like, yeah, that's what I had it pegged at too.
Yeah.
If you give them a number, they're going to shoot for that number. But if you don't give them anything, they're going to skew. They're going to be like, yeah, I think I see 11K an acre. But then when you're actually like, sure, probably only sell it 7. Yeah. So, but no, like exactly what you said. Look for the right agent, right? If you see an agent that's got like 30 house listings and like 5 or 6 land listings, okay, whatever. You know, maybe you don't want to. There may not be the best, but their interest is mostly on the houses, right? But if you see a realtor that's got like 50 land listings and like 2 or 3 houses, okay, their focus is on land, right? So big question too. I ask realtors, I'm like, do you have a drone? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have a ATV? Whatever. A typical good land realtor that understands large parcels, rural rec, typically has a drone and has an ATV or quad or something like that, because they're going to go ride a 40-acre parcel. You know what I mean? Like I have good agents that hop on the quad or whatever. They tow a trailer literally to every property. They fly their drone, they hop in their quad, and they ride the whole property, and they check it all out for me. That's a good agent.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways,
your Mossy Oak guys will do that. But.
Yeah, Mossy Oak is typically Whitetail, Mossy Oak. They're typically the main guys that do that stuff. You'll pay to 8 to 10%, but it's worth it.
But yeah,
you
get that too. So
worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, so we touched a little bit about on scrubbing, why we scrub, things like that, because obviously it lowers our mail costs, right? If I'm mailing today and I want to be conservative, because we have talked about this, like we're in kind of weird times with economics, the way things are working. It's not necessarily like land is still going to sell if it's good land, but junk lots, like we've seen in the past year or two, have been slowing down. Good land is still selling, and that's always going to be the case. So you have to be more strict on what you're bringing in to then put out, right? So what are you guys seeing as far as like mail things? Like what does a pro at mailing do? A lot of people talk about cold calling and texting. I love mail. Well, what are you guys doing right now? Let's go. Anthony, guys, you start.
I'm trying to, because I've watched in areas I have bought and sold deals in that this market dried up in the middle of throughout the process of getting something, a lead in. By the time we get it under contract, by the time we took it to close, because it gets hung up in title, that by the time we actually hit the market, it is a whole different market that we were actually in. Yep. So I'm trying to reposition and go, because there's markets that I've worked in, I bought and sold 3-4 properties in, and that area, I don't want to touch it right now, which is tough too, because it's like I have to kind of go into some of these different areas, because those, not that they won't come back off in the future or something might change as well. Right now, in the current state of the market, I don't want to be there, and I don't want to get stuck in those areas. So,
is it because there's no supply though?
No, it's the complete opposite. Supply has doubled in some of these areas.
Okay, that's the biggest thing.
Went off a ramp.
Yeah, if you see the supply is increased and there's no sales backing it up, then that's obviously a bad market. But if you see that there's no supply but also no sales, there's probably nothing wrong with the market. It's probably more just there's no supply. So how could you have any type of demand with no supply? So that's where knowing a realtor, knowing the area is important.
And there's areas where I by the time when I mailed it, and then I got a call just like, it's probably been 6 months since I mailed it. I got one of those late leads that came into, and I'm like, truth be told, actually taking a second look at everything, I don't want to buy this. Like, I don't want to be here now. Just from the period of time it took from when I mailed it for this person to call in, 5-6 months, supplies nearly doubled and sales remained stagnant. So it's just the divergence of increased supply. And so there's areas like that I've seen as well too, which is causing me to pivot in certain places and having to go touch some other areas. And the map that we got from the Vegas event, I have it pinned up on a foam board, and I have needles dropped everywhere I've done a deal. But also the cool things, I go and look at that, and there's like whole chunks of states that I have never even touched in that area too. So there's areas like, sometimes I feel like I've looked at a lot of markets, but there's still ones I haven't touched. Some still ones that I haven't looked at. So
how'd you get that map back home, Anthony? That was a big
I just kept
map.
bringing it on the plane and throwing it in the upper cap.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Carry on, yeah.
Mine disappeared when I was flying. I don't know where it went.
Same, yeah.
I kept it in my hand. I was walking around the airport with the thing the whole time. So
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. I mounted it on a foam board and I dropped pins on all places I've done deals. And it's interesting to see where it clustered, but I have an area where I've done plenty of deals across like 3 separate states. And all of those areas have really kind of gone downhill since. And just currently right now, they're just not holding up great. And it's like, not that you couldn't go buy a property and you couldn't go sell it again, but you're going to get stuck and you're going to be waiting a while. And it's not going to move quickly.
You probably have to buy for half of what you offered originally.
Yeah, you're definitely seeing 10-15% declines in price on the sale side for sure, which would probably correlate to at least a 10%, 15% reduction on what you could have offered. And ultimately what I'm seeing as a majority of the theme right now, aside the difference from this year compared to last year, is that ultimately what we trade is a perception, where we arbitrage perception of value. Mm-hmm. Someone's not going to sell you their property unless they feel that that's a fair value. And someone, we're not going to buy it unless we know we're going to be at a safe position on this and feel that we can at least make some profit when it's all said and done. So those two have to line up somewhere, and that's where a deal gets made.
Yep.
What I'm seeing is the latency in perception on property owners. Whereas if you were in this in 2021, 22, prices went off a ramp so quickly, perception couldn't catch up with it.
You could buy a market and sell double your money within 6 months.
Exactly. In a matter of days too. Yeah. So now what I feel like we crested in about 22, end of 23. Yeah. And now perception of owners are up here, market's down here. We need to be down here. Mm-hmm. And this gap is the problem. That gap between what they perceive it to be. I just got an email right before we hopped on. I was actually spot checking some properties, and this person's been trying to sell like 3 or 4 separate lots in an area. I probably mailed him in February. Now he's just reaching out because he tried to sell them and he's not getting what he wanted. And now the funny thing is I went and found the old listings and he's asking for more than he was even listed at. I was like, all right, dude. Okay. So
always.
And ultimately he wants $190,000 for this 6.5 acre. That's in all reality probably worth $120. I need it at 60. So we're about $130,000 difference of where we need to be. This is the issue I feel like I'm running into. So I'm getting a lot of responses still. Response rate's been relatively equal, but what I'm seeing is that these sellers, they want peak 2022 prices and possibly even above that too. And this is a matter of acquisitions and working them off that number as well. But there's only so much you can do when you're trying to walk them down 130 grand. It's a big gap to fill, and it could be done in some cases, but not at the not the level that I guess it's going to be a percent of those people that actually convert. So that's what I'm seeing a whole lot of right now too. Is just like even if you do your accurate pricing, you're targeted with that. Some of those aren't like if you come in delivering 50% offers right now, you're not getting as many calls as you used to. And I feel like with a crappy letter 3 years ago with a 50% offer or sometimes even lower, my phone would ring off the hook. And now it's like we're at 55, 60% of market value on some of these offers, and it's not nearly as busy on the phones. Yeah. So that's a lot of what I'm seeing run into right now, but there's still areas, arbitraging, what we were talking about earlier with data too, where there's gaps. There's gaps where this subdivision isn't getting mapped properly and stuff like that. Arbitraging those gaps in how things are recorded, issues with on the county level, on the data level. Like there's areas I've seen that are completely, they show up as unmarked flood zone, and it gets labeled as 100% flood zone if you're scrubbing. So this property will show, and truth is, it's 5,000 feet elevation. It's above the flood layer that gets even categorized because it's just so high in elevation, everything just runs off, but it gets labeled as 100% flood zone. So, and I found it by originally trying to pull data for a subdivision I've already done a deal in. And I know that there was no flood layer up here. And I was like, what's causing this to get pulled out of the data? And I went and backtracked it to figure out like, oh, this whole area is marked as a flood zone. It's not at all though. So little things like that, trying to arbitrage that as well. Because I've seen some great success with some of those weird nuanced things you capture. And those are some of my favorite things to find, is when you see like, oh, here we go. Something's not right here. And I think it's really exciting. So trying to focus on that, but that was a long-winded answer. Hopefully something
no, it's good. Like I want to add to that, like 3 things kind of like to add to that. So like you said, with the kind of like with sell-through rates, right? When you look at a sell-through rate and by the time you pick it and mail it, right, things change, right? Guess what? Everybody's looking at sell-through rates. Everybody has these tools to make it easy. It used to be when we first got into it where it was like you had to sit there and do this all yourself. So you'd find these honey holes of sell-through rates that nobody was touching because it was such a manual process, right? Now it's so easy. Couple clicks and you find the hottest markets. Well, that's like a lagging indicator in a way, because what happens is 6 months now, everybody finds it. 6 months from now, mail's been sent, people have contracted deals. There's still people trying to sell, right? They're calling you now, right? And then you look at the market and then all of a sudden there's an influx of for sale properties, which throws the STR out. All of a sudden that sell-through rate plummets. It's like even, because the amount listed versus the amount sold are completely different now. Where 6 months ago was the opposite. It was inverted. So that you're seeing a lot of. What's better, instead of looking at the 3 month, the 6 month, the 1 year, look at consistency in market over everything, right? I want to look at stuff and say, okay, what is the sell-through rate? How is the 1 year sell-through rate? Is it still good? It's great. It's 100%. Fantastic. What was it 2 years ago? What was it 3 years ago? What was it 4 years ago? Right? Let me go back and see, is there consistency in this market over time, right? Not just what's making money today. There's a ton of stuff happening, right? You got to look at that. So that's one thing I feel like you're going to do really well. You could always buy properties in a consistent market. It's just at what price point are you buying it at, right? That's really the biggest determining factor. So there's that. And then there was something else I wanted to add, but brain's gone. So
there's data, like issues with the data, and then markets. I'm trying to go back to what's the perception, the gap of perception between sellers and buyers right now. Yeah.
Okay. So that's another big thing too, is like talking to area experts, finding out what areas are good, because they'll tell you like, hey, look, people moved on from this county. There's too many properties for sale, or too many yokels moved in and they don't want to be there anymore. Right now they want to be in this county. Now the data is never going to show you that. You're going to find that out 6 months, 12 months from now when properties are bought and sold. But if you're working with an area expert that knew this county was great, but now this county's better, then you're going to start working with them. And then guess what? 2 years from now, it's going to shift back to the other county again, because they're going to get the same feeling of like, it's changed, that everything's changing. I want to go back here. So you got to find your area experts. And I think that is going to set you apart from everybody else. Because my favorite thing is moving into a market where nobody else is, right? Where there isn't a lot of supply and there isn't a lot of demand on paper, right? But when I talk to my agents, they're like, yeah, I have 10 buyers that want to buy in this market, but there's no properties listed. What do you want from me? Boom. Then you deliver. And then guess what? You become the pro. So
one of my best deals was in an area that didn't even register for sell-through rates. It was the best deal I ever had.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And you fall into those by mistake, and you have to just pay attention to them and say, how do I reverse engineer that? You know? Yeah. And I think like you were talking about earlier with the flood zone, I think I know people don't want to get into the trenches with their data and everything like that, but like it is a benefit because you catch those things, and that can totally make your year, right? Because you find this honey hole that everybody else missed because AI it's not reading it correctly.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the market is. I think we have to do our marketing pictures, our listings, our descriptions. Like I do all of that for my agents. I don't even trust them with it, to be honest with you, like at all whatsoever. And so I think that is really key right now. And, you know, one thing over the past, I think about 30 days for myself is like, I get really excited about deals. Like I love doing this. I love learning it. I even love the hurdles and everything like that. So I get excited about a deal, but I'm not so attached to a deal. Like I will drop the price on it. And, you know, I think Q1, Q2, I sell at like retail price. That's why I do the surveys and the perk tests and stuff. I sell on market on the MLS, always have. But that is becoming a little bit more difficult now, right? Mm-hmm. And so I am having to go in and say, okay, I need to drop these prices. And so I didn't really have a framework, to be honest with you, to do that. And over the past 30 days, I kind of created that like, okay, day 60, we're dropping this percent. And even on the acquisition side, I'm knowing what's market price, what am I going to list at, what is my 60-day price, and what is like my everybody gets paid, break even, maybe I make a few $1,000s price, right? Like know that up front and know when you're going to be dropping it. October acquisitions, I think the economy in the way that it is, and this is just my experience, acquisition is easier, to be honest with you. Like people are feeling, you know, you turn on the news and it's like the government is still shut down and people aren't getting paychecks. And like, that is like felt, that is, you know, kitchen table discussion stuff. And so I think from what I experience is that people are selling, you know, I'm getting a lot of yeses. I'm getting a lot of people that want to sell their properties. But now it's like, okay, dispo, I got to create a framework around that. And so I did that recently. And one deal, like I had, it was listed for since July, like July 15th, and tons of views, tons of saves. I'm like, why is this not moving? And I was like, okay, time to drop prices. I only dropped it 10K, right? It was a buy for 27, sell. I listed at 75,000 and Lily dropped it 10K, got 2 cash offers. And I was like, why didn't I drop this 10K a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, you know? I know that's simple, right? That's simple. But in our business, if you do not create a process or framework about what you do, you won't be consistent with it. And that's what I noticed on my dispo side. Cause I was used to just kind of the stuff selling, but now it's like, okay, we're dropping rates. We're knowing exactly what our spread is and where we can drop it from the beginning. And we're going to just systematically start dropping it just to get the inventory out the door, you know? So
to that point, because I feel like a year ago, I used to be able to look at a property and I'm like, this will close right about here. And I'd be right within plus or minus 5%. Like to the T, yeah. I think this is going to close at 165,000. We closed at 169,000. That happened like a couple of times last year where I'm just like, and even whether my agent says lower or higher, I'm like, I'm very confident in this. Good. Yeah. We got to compare notes, but I'm very confident in this. And then it happens. And they're like, holy shit. So I feel lately it's been harder to figure out where the chips are going to fall. When it comes to dispo, it's like, I feel very confident in this price. And I think, you know, even being conservative and I'm still like, ooh, we're past the point where I thought it would sell and I have to drop price again too. And I'm like, this is, that was an already conservative prediction in estimation as well too. So I'm finding it difficult for that right now is actually knowing where we find liquidity. In some of these
I feel like we're kind of guessing a little bit. Like the numbers tell us, even on, you know, when it comes in, the lead comes in, I relook at the data, the sell-through rates, make sure everything is still good before we say yes. Even with all that good, you put it on market, and it's like you're kind of guessing to see how the market reacts, you know. And if you're not getting the saves and the views, I think you need to like don't wait. Like I think you need to drop the price because the market will immediately tell you where you need to be. And I think we have to buy with a lot more spread. I notice the deals that I have, you know, 70, 80K spread on, it's not really hard to drop those, right? It's not too painstaking to drop those. But when you only have $20,000 in spread, right? When you bought it, that makes it really, really tough, to be honest with you, I noticed. And so like you said, like you both said earlier, we have to be more intentional when we buy and make sure we're buying good properties and we have a good amount of spread to play with, because we don't know what the market is going to tell us.
Yeah. Another thing too.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say about pricing too. Everybody's like, yeah, sell at 90% of market, right? Well, if you keep working a market and every land investor is doing the same thing, what's going to happen?
Brings it all down,
driving all the prices down. But now here's the other thing: everybody starts out competing. It's like a race to the bottom, right? Or we bring our pricing down. But now here's the other thing: when you take a property and everything is selling for $10,000 an acre, and you list it for $8,000 an acre, thinking I'm going to sell this fast, all you did was make yourself stand out, not only in pricing but quality. People look at that property and they're like, "Well, it's probably shit. That's why it's $8,000 an acre versus $10,000." People don't understand the mindset of like, "Oh, it's listed cheaper. Let me buy it." Right? No, they look at it and be like, it's probably junk because I know acreage in this area sells for $10,000 an acre. Why would I buy something for $8,000 an acre? There's probably something wrong with it. I'll just pass it over. So intentionally, I try to list the property maybe in the beginning, like 5% above market, maybe just a little bit over, a hair over, not enough, not a lot that it's going to scare people away, but enough that it's going to be like, hey, this is a prime property. Typically, best properties are listed for more. Right? You don't try to sell $1 million home for $300,000 because you're trying to drive it up. No, you sell $1 million home for maybe $995 or $1,050,000, right? And try to settle at $1 million. So think about it in that aspect, right? Yeah. There's a real race to the bottom thing going on here.
No, absolutely. And that's and right now I'm just trying to buy properties. If I'm buying them, I want to know if I try to think like, all right, is this property, if I get stuck with this for the next year, will I sleep well at night? Will this one keep me up at night, kind of thing? And that's one thing I'm paying a lot more attention to as well. And because, again, 2 years ago, a year ago, I could get away with some of those and be like, all right, well, we'll sell because the market's still churning and we'll still get out of this one fine. I had, it seemed like a light switch flipped over winter where we came back in the spring trying to offload like the last deal or two left over from the year previously, and then they literally dragged on. One of them is still dragging on right now, and in markets where I've sold stuff, and so it's like I want to be at prices I sleep well at night knowing we have them, and in areas and the quality of the property itself. I want to know that even if this is if we're dealing with some sort of a market downturn right now, that down the road, if I get stuck with this thing, it's like it's valuable and I got it at a good price. And if I don't make quite what I thought I would, that's okay, whatever. But I also just want to know that we got something good here, and I'm okay having my money stuck in it. So
I do that. I've been buying out my lenders on properties that like we're sitting on for a little while. Instead of me accruing interest, I just buy them out, pay them off. Yeah. I'll sit on it with my own money. It's fine. Maybe I'm not gaining an interest rate, whatever. Maybe it's a dumb idea, like people might say, but at the end of the day, I own the asset. It's not going to drop in value like it would. It's not going to go like down like 50%, right? It's still an asset. It may have a little bit of a hiccup, but at the end of the day, it's land, and land in the area is selling for this. I bought it for this. I'll probably sell it for more than this. I just need the right buyer to come along, right?
Yeah.
So like I have one that I bought off a lender about like 6 months ago. I paid the lender off. He got his money plus interest and whatever. I own the property now, and we pulled it off the market. I just went in and I'm getting a guy out there to completely like basically carve out areas, make it look nicer. Like it's got two roads into it. So I'm carving lanes from the front to the back of the property as if those roads still exist. And then also going around the perimeter, making it look nicer, doing like an H pattern, whatever. Basically, now somebody could come in there and say, oh my God, I could see this as like a subdivision. I could see this as this. I could give them something to look at, right? So being better on your listing, make it look better. That's going to help you too. And it's going to cost me $2,000 with that and new pictures. So at the end of the day, it's worth it to me.
Oh, yeah. I think Dispo is an active business. Like I think sometimes we think we can just, okay, now we got it. The hard part is done with acquisition. Just put it on market. It's like, no, I'm talking to my realtors every week. I'm like, what's the feedback? Okay, access here. Okay, let's maybe do this. Let's do like we're strategizing. I'm like, you know what? Take that completely off market. You know what I'm saying? Let's ruffle a little bit. Let's redo the pictures. Like it is an active thing that you have to pay attention to, or you just turn around and have all this damn inventory that you don't want.
I bug the shit out of my realtors.
oh yeah. I try to do it in a nice way,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll pull a listing from the MLS. I'm not afraid to do that. Pull it from the MLS for 30 days, let it reset completely. Go list it under a new address, even though it's going to still link up with the same old APN. But guess what? The average consumer, nobody really calls a realtor and says, find me a lot. It's the opposite nowadays. They find it on Zillow and call a realtor.
Oh, that's exactly what they do. That is exactly what they do. Yeah.
So
Zillow is like it is the marketplace, the platform for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you change your address, it doesn't link back to your old property. So if you were at like 1 First Street, now you change it to like 000 First Street, it's going to link to a different property technically, even though it's the same property you had before listed, but it won't show the price history.
Yeah.
I've had a lot that wasn't selling because it was showing the price history. I bought it so cheap and I had it long enough that it actually showed up on the listing.
The public,
Yeah. So if once it finally updated, people were seeing I bought it for like 45,000. I'm trying to sell it for like 200 grand. They're like, this guy just bought it less than 6 months ago for 45,000. Why would I sell for that? So all I did was I took it down for 30 days, reset, put a new address up there, listed it for a higher price, 210. Wouldn't you know, it sold like almost instantly because they didn't see.
Yeah. You can just have your realtor tell your realtor, like, I have to really explain this to them, highlight, circle, all this stuff. Like put in, like, instead of 123 Main Street, please put 123X Main Street. It will literally, the history on the listing will go away. It will just go away. Yeah. So it definitely helps the listing a lot. Yeah.
I've had a guy tell me what he does is he does 5 AC 123 Main Street, like 5 acres 123 Main Street, or 50 acres 123 Main Street, and that just changes the address, right? And that's boom, there you go.
Real land agents know that, because the ones I don't have to tell them, they already know what to do. Yeah.
It works. It makes sense because it's looked at as a different property. So, all right, we talked a lot about it listings. And we're getting pretty late here. So like,
I know
this is typical, like always like a 1-part video.
Probably can go 45 more minutes, to be honest with you.
It always turns into like a 3-part video. Like always, this is what always happens.
We did have an agenda, guys. I just want to let you guys know.
We did. Parts of it.
Anthony and I worked on this.
Did we get anything on the agenda? Anything?
A couple things, but we're sprinkled all throughout this thing.
We talked about buying and pricing. Let's see. Is direct mail still king? I don't think we talked about that.
Forever. Direct mail works. Why would places like Amex, why would places like all these companies continue to mail you promotional mailers constantly if it didn't work?
They didn't get something from it. Yeah.
Yep. If cold calling worked better, or texting worked better, don't you think Amex and Discover and all these people would be sitting there cold calling you and texting you all the time? No, they know I send mail. It costs me this much. My KPIs are this. I get this back on the back end. It just makes sense to mail, right? That's just how it works.
I think mail will always be around and be king. I'm a huge fan of it. And I think, like I was watching, I think Deb was on from Rocket Print yesterday, or that's when it was shown that episode. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't think it works because there's factors that are at play that no one really talks about. Like I know on the call yesterday, she's like 95% or 99% of the land investors send this type of mailer, and it was like the indicia pre-sorted little black stamp on the envelope on the outside of it, where the stamp would usually go. And she literally was just like, 99% of people are sending this type of letter. We're like, why would you send that as well? Yeah. I mean, there's the return address is not talked about, right? Having a Google presence is not talked about because people are going to Google you, right? Mm-hmm. People are having Yahoo and Gmail email addresses. They're not looking professional with their domains. There's all those little things that I don't think are talked about. So people end up spending all this money on mail, and then it's like it doesn't work, and it does. You just have to like become an expert in what you do. I think it's super important. Like experts always have more choices. Like when the market changes, because you know your data and you know what levers do what, you can pivot much quicker than someone that's like 5 positions away from maybe getting that feedback in their business. You know what I'm saying? So I think mail works. I'm a big fan of it. Everybody knows that. And I think it is still king.
I think the issue though is like you said, like a Gmail address and all these little things that used to get away with no color on your letter, no logo, Gmail address. You used to get away with you used to get away with that, and it worked fine. And now that's why I think people so that's shifted a lot too, where you got to stand out a little bit more.
It's trust.
It's trust. Have made extreme emphasis on making it stand out because you can't like the good old days of having a Gmail account and a stupid little letter isn't going to fly anymore. And you've, I think, placed a lot of emphasis on that, the mail aspect of things, and your approach towards it has really shined a light on that in a great way. It's been very interesting to see as well too, because definitely some pivots have to happen, and it's those things they don't work like they used to. So
they don't work like they used to, and we're I think if we just put ourselves in the consumer's shoes instead of our shoes, like all we're thinking about is like data and deals and the numbers and all that good stuff. It's like, put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Like when you walk to the mailbox, what are you going to throw away? What are you going to keep? What's going to stand out? Like when you read the letter, is it going to feel trustworthy? Even with your listings, like think about the seller when they look at your listing. Does it say what it's zoned? What utilities are there? Like what legwork do they have to do for it to be buildable? If they have to guess all of that, it's going to make it harder for them to make a decision. So I think if we just turn and look at things that we have trouble with as the consumer, right? It'll help us a lot. Yeah.
So also 2 things to add. One is the reason why people like also don't want to mail is they look at it as the upfront cost. They're like, oh my God, this is expensive. And they also don't want to waste time. They're like, why would I waste my time when I could sign up for $297 and start sending text right now and get a deal in 30 days, right?
Right.
When in reality, when they actually go to do it, it doesn't work like that. Same thing with cold calling. They're like, oh, I could just cold call and I could get a deal in like 30 days. True, you might be able to. But typically the best deals, if you ask any land investor, their biggest deals are always from mail, 100%. Yeah. They're not texting a person and getting a thing. Also, think about trust factors, right? Who do you trust more, right? Do you trust somebody that just texts you randomly and says, I want to buy your property, cold calls you, wants to buy your property, or do you trust something that you actually have to act on, right? Right. I would trust something that I'm acting on because I get to do a little bit of upfront legwork, like Kay's saying, and look up who is Cash for Land. What are they doing? Do they have any bad reports? Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff, right? Instead of me having to dig information, text back questions, all that stuff. Instantly, if somebody sends me a message, like I always get texts all the time. Hey, I want to buy your house, this and that. And I'll text people back. I'm like, yeah, I'm not selling my houses. I'll buy though. I'm a buyer. And then I get no responses. And I'm like, dude, you're missing out. Cause like I would literally buy 10 houses this month if you bring them to me. No problem. But nobody brings them to me. It's like, what are you doing? Just because they're whatever, so disconnected from the market. But so that's a time thing, right? People want instant gratification these days, and it does not work like that. This takes time. It takes typically about 6 months of consistently mailing and doing the thing before you get a good deal flow, right? That's that. Age of the person that's receiving these letters and is going to sell your property. What's the average age of those people? What is your seller's avatar? I talk about this a lot. Average avatar is 55 plus. If you're hitting them with a mailer that's made by somebody that's 25 years old and they don't look at it from their 55-year-old person's eyes, what is that going to look like to them? Right? It's going to look probably like trash or whatever the case may be. Same thing with text and whatever. All that stuff. The way texts work these days, you can't put in certain words. So you end up looking illiterate when you're sending them a text. Yeah. And it's like a 55-year-old person plus 65, 75 person that's getting this text is going to be like, who the hell is this? Whatever. Somebody asked about the jars of dirt. This is all my jars of dirt from different deals I've done. I have more that I have to put up. I've been saying that for months and I haven't put them up, but see, this is $375 right here. $375,000 right here. This one bag of dirt from one deal. So, but yeah, so like, think about the age of the avatar, the person that's receiving this mailer, and tailor your mail for that avatar. Yeah. Don't just tailor it because you think it looks pretty or ChatGPT says it looks good. No. What would a consumer that's 55, 65 years old, that's living in a red state, that's probably, wherever, whatever the case may be, how would they respond to your mailer, right? Are they going to respond positively or negatively? That's what you have to think about. Think about the avatar at the end, the person at the end, right?
Yep.
That's a big factor. And I see a lot of people that are just like, let me just send it. It works. Sumner does it. Dennis does it. Kay does it. It works because they do it. No, it doesn't. It works because we've iterated and changed and thought about the end consumer, right? That's where it really comes in. That's how you're going to find success.
Yeah. So. I think that lesson is across the board. Like, I'm probably on version 9,700 on my list, but it's continuously being refined, right? But I think it's the same thing if you jump into cold calling or text messaging. There's skill to that. It is fast and it's easy to get into, but it is skill there. I think the people that do the best with it, they are very skilled in their coaching and in what they're saying and what's getting the good response rates. Like across the board, it's all just putting in the time and putting in the reps to actually learn what you're doing. Because it's not like an easy button. It's just not like everyone wants to be like, well, how do you filter the for market selection? And I just think it's like 1, 2, 3, and it's like that's just not how it works in the business. I think, and I love this. I always say it's not a silver bullet. I think Alex Hormozy says like there's no one like bullet. There's like a million golden BBs, right, in your business that no one sees. That just the refinement, the feedback, the continue, like all of those things that come and end up being that one product that is amazing that you put together. So it's a lot of different things over time, I think.
And also things are cyclical, right? They go in cycles. Okay. When you go to a land investing summit and you talk to all these people and everybody's like, I'm doing cold calling. I'm doing cold calling. I'm doing cold calling. Guess what? 100, 200, 300, however many people watch these videos are going to say, oh my God, everybody's doing cold calling. I'm going to go do cold calling.
Yeah.
Well, what happens? The other marketing channels start to diminish. Not a lot of people are doing them anymore, but now 70% of the people that are marketing go towards cold calling. What happens? The phones start ringing. Guess what happens? People stop answering after 6 months of this consistently happening.
Yep.
So then everybody then just goes to the next shiny object. I'm going to texting because cold calling doesn't work. And then they start telling you cold calling doesn't work. It sucks. It's the worst. Then everybody shifts. That 70% of people go towards texting or they go back towards this. If they flip-flop, RVMs, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this best marketing channel ever. Do this. Yep. It doesn't matter. Like when everybody's going one way, go the opposite. That's what you have to do. That's how you get better. Like if everybody's going towards cold calling, go towards mail, heavy towards it, right?
Yeah. I love everyone doing cold calling and texting.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Go for it all day long. You want everybody should sign up for a launch control account right now and use land callers or whatever it is. Go use them, please. Go do it. By all means, go ahead.
And then you start to realize how high maintenance those channels are too. It's not just it's not hands off.
Yeah. They're very active channels of marketing. Yeah.
So. It's funny. AJ Miller says door knock land. I built a Knockly. I built like a door knocking company, and I was literally training people all over the country how to door knock and this and that, and like whatever. That's how we were getting deals. We were crushing it in deals because nobody else was door knocking because it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's hard. Yep. But we were contracting one out of like I think it was like 400 door knocks. So if you were to go, and I'm telling you, like literally. People would go door knock 400 doors and get a deal that would make us $100-something thousand. It's like a no-brainer, and it costs you your feet, your legs, your time, whatever. Crazy, and it worked. Can't really land is hard because like a landowner doesn't live where their land is, so it's not like
can't go door knocking with landowners.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you could, but like, I mean, that would be like a bear. You'd have to look at like a market and then say, okay, which market does everybody own land in, and it's like a whole thing. Whatever, it wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah,
but like
but the harder it is, the less people are going to do it.
Right,
that's just what it is.
Very simple. That's it.
It's very simple. Yeah. So
that's why mail is going to be king because mail is always going to be there, consistently over time. It's always going to be there. People are always going to look at it, open it up. How could you make it more attractive for them to open up? Being different, doing something that is a little bit stands out a little bit. So.
Yep. And then you layer on top of that, like here, I'm local. So if somebody wants to meet me, I'll go meet them. Like I met a landowner last week, old developer, had some extra land, brought the blueprints out, gave them to me and everything. And it was awesome. You know, got to hear his life story and everything like that. And it's so funny because somebody sent me those parcels 6 months ago to help them comp it. I remember comping it, and I was just like, well, I guess they didn't get the deal on that. So yeah.
Being willing to just go meet. Like if I have a property that's a good property, like this one in North Carolina, the $1 million, 1,000+ acres. If we go under contract, I'm going to fly down there and sit down with the seller. Like, why would you not?
Oh yeah, that kind of deal. Absolutely.
Right? Like $300 round trip to go fly down there, maybe like a hotel for a night. Like, go for it. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
If it could if you could net over $100,000 on a deal, why wouldn't you just fly out there real quick and just talk to the seller? It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Not often. It's not often going to be worth it, but when it is, I think you should definitely do it. Yeah.
I've set conditions and I talk to the seller and I'm like, hey, if I fly out there and we meet and we walk the property together, are you willing to move forward? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. If I can shake your hand, we'll move forward. Great. Let's do it.
And some people are just like that. This one guy, he's like in Raleigh. So he's a couple hours away from me, but he's just like, I have plenty of land to sell you. I want to sell it to you, but I don't do business over the phone or through mail. So you got to come. I'm like, and he hung up and I called him back. I'm like, Frank? He's like, yes. I'm just like, are you home? Like, I'm a few hours away. He's just like, I'll be here for the next 3 days. I'm just like, all right. Probably not.
In the car.
I don't know. We'll see.
I desperately wish I was in an area that had better markets surrounding it for land. And honestly, it's just, I mean, even during the COVID frenzy, it's maybe 100% sell-through rates in this area.
Where are you located, Anthony?
What's that?
Where are you located?
Northern California. I'm north of Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
So,
all right.
A little bit.
Good. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. But it's just this, honestly, like when you just look at like there are like obviously land still trades. It just doesn't, like, the people building where we are the people who kind of have, FU money and don't care that they just want their patio the way they want it and gonna go build. Like, those are the people building in the area that I live in. They typically are coming up from the major cities, either the Bay Area, San Francisco, or Los Angeles. They're loaded with cash. They can go offload their, $3 million mansion, come up here and build an even bigger mansion for $1 million up here. And that's the kind of people who buy the land and develop it. And it's not for the average person in this area. It's not like you're going to go see someone who desperately needs 3 acres to go put a mobile home on up here. You just don't see that. It's like, it's not in the culture of where I live, if that makes sense too, where it's, you don't see like the hunting properties. Like it's just not the culture. When you go over to like, South Carolina and some of these rural counties too, where someone just needs 5 acres to throw a mobile home on, and that's their going to be
all day long in the Carolina.
Yeah, we don't have that here. It's just simple as that. And so it's just, I wish I was in an area where land wasn't just more demand. You can still buy and sell here, and you'll be all right too. But it doesn't move quickly. It takes a long time. Everything's very expensive in that regard as well too. It's like, there's like a $300,000 10-acre down the road from me. I've been watching it on the market, driving past this sign for like 2.5 years now. Still nothing's happening. So they're overpriced probably. But, it's kind of I wish I was in a market where I can be so much more local. Go see the properties, meet the people.
You don't have to wish, Anthony. You can move. You can move.
I know. Trust me, I thought about it.
You don't got roots there right now. Like, no kids are in school or anything, man.
True.
I mean, doesn't mean you have to move for a long time. You can move for a year and just test it out, bounce around, or just hop in an RV and just drive around the country. Operate your business like that. I mean, still keep your home base and just do that. Circle back every so often and just chill. You have the opportunity to do so. Take advantage of it. I can't do that. I have kids. So
when you have kids, it's like you're kind of grounded.
I know I'm locked here till they're like in high school, basically, or college, whatever, basically. Maybe like move a little bit around, but they have their friends. It's so hard.
That's hard. Yeah.
That's what it is. All right. So last thing we'll do, and then we'll cut it. Response rates for mailers in 2025. So I haven't done a lot of mailing this year. Basically, like tapered off because of changing, splitting up with my partner. So my KPIs were about 3,400 to a closed contract. That average netted us about $40,000. That was my KPIs before I stopped mailing. So pretty good overall. I mean, you're talking like $1,700, $1,800 to mail to get a deal that makes you 40. It's almost like a 20x ROAS, which is awesome, right? But that was my data from, about 6 months ago. So where are you guys kind of seeing right now? I know, Kay, you have different data sets because of the type of mailing you do and all that stuff. And Anthony, you're different too because you have different mailing as well. But where are you guys kind of at?
Oh man, I think we shared the numbers last time. Some rough numbers, still at like 0.5%. That has never really changed as far as the response rate. Since I started to today, like I've just focused on the quality of the parcels that we're mailing to, going up in cost, and then and just making sure that we're like putting offers out, or we're sending out PAs to get signed on stuff that we absolutely want. So I'm trying to reduce that 30%-ish kind of dropout rate, and been doing really, really well, this past quarter and some change, doing that. So, I mean, last mailer was, let me see, my last big mailer that the numbers are in for, I would say, was August, and mailed like 10,343 mailers and got seven solid purchase on title good deals from that. And some are still trickling in. And so, big difference from when I first started, because we were just getting everything and anything signed, and just figuring it out later. But now it's just kind of like getting better at what we do, what I do, and just staying on path, right? Because there's so much to learn in marketing and in sales, and we have so much room to get better. So like that has been my focus, instead of like trying to add, and it is tempting to like, oh, let me add a state, or let me add this, because I kind of stay in one area. And so, but I feel like there's just so much return in kind of just staying in the same area and just learning all the nuances and just getting better at the one thing that you do. And I feel like that is what I'm doing. So
yeah. No, I'm kind of like right around the same for about it's hovering around 0.5% response. I just sent some mail out and it hasn't seasoned yet, so it's skewing the number. I checked my spreadsheet, but it's literally just above or below 0.5%, been hovering now for a couple months. So, and right now I'm at like this is a little bit of concerning part too. I'm at about $3,700. Yeah, $3,700 per contract. It's like cost per contract. And some of those are stuck in title right now too. And my average deal size is probably in around the 43K range. If you accumulate all of them too, some are in the 20s and 30s and some are in the 70s and 80s. And where it all balances out is probably right around that 40K mark, is what at least the math here is showing me. But some of these are stuck in title. So I'm curious to see what makes it out of the other end of that. But that's kind of what the numbers are looking like right now. And then there's also a couple hot leads that still haven't converted yet that, we'll see what comes of them. I got one that's really hot, got like $100,000 spread on it and pretty solid property. Nice. And so, we'll see what converts and where it shakes out. The thing is to really give like my year's worth of data, and it will be probably May of next year.
It'll be next summer. Yeah, I was going to say it'll be next year in the summertime.
May or June of next year before we have it all accumulated. But the year prior to that, I was at 0.55, so just over 0.5% response rate. That's been remaining pretty consistent. But my cost per contract last year was about $1,700 to net. Ooh, I don't know if I still have the other one. It was about $1,700 or $1,750. I do. Excuse me, $1,500. $1,578 nice. Cost per contract, and it was like a 30x ROAS last year. And last year was just overall better. I don't anticipate this year to shake out quite as good. But after all, and about $47,000 average net profit per deal. But I have one massive deal that really skewed those numbers a little bit higher. If you exclude that, I think we're close to like $35,000 or $32,000 per deal. So,
are you doing range letters, and are you answering the phone? Because I know at first you were answering the phone yourself. Are you still doing that?
All of last year I was. This year I did get an answering service, and I might switch back off of that though, because one, I don't feel like it's enough calls to
warrant it.
Warrant it. Yeah. And on top of that, there's sometimes like I'm having more trouble getting in touch with them after that first touch. And I feel like we can make a lot more progress if I have them on the phone with that first touch. Whereas,
so crazy. That's really what I experienced.
I've called this other guy right now like 38 times, and we got to talk once. And other than him calling in that original time too, like that would have been valuable if I got on the phone with him as opposed to them taking him some basic information. I try to call him back. So
oh my God. So the opposite just happened with me. So when I first started in the business, that happened. I was with Call Porter, and they are great, by the way. But like I couldn't get like half the people back on the phone that literally said, I want to sell. So I'm like, just answering the phone. Cut it. So I cut them out just recently. Maybe last week, I just onboarded Call Porter back on, and I told them like, hey, we advertise as 100% woman-owned business. Like I need only women answering the phone from your call center. And so they had to do like this custom routing. And I told them like, I do not want it to sound like a call center. So we got on the phone and we're just like, I want people to call in and I want them to feel like my assistant in front of me is answering the phone, like, and I am on the phone. And so we kind of went through all these things. And so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give it 90 days to see if it affects anything. Because I'll go back to answering the phone if it's going to affect me, sales. So, yeah.
Even if I have to leave a message, I had no problems doing that for years. Like I'd rather have them come into me. It's like, even if I have to leave a message and I can call them back the second I have a chance, like it's, I felt like it worked great. It worked fine. And I think it felt a little bit more personal too. And
now 1,000% it does. Yeah.
It feels a little more corporate now with the call service. It's like, and I don't know if people love that. It's kind of weird.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
But people text too, and they can text the same number that they call me in on my open phone number. A lot of people like to text, and people like to send emails too, and with the reference code, and we kind of just start the conversation from there, which is really good. So both are working. Yeah. But I have to go.
I gotta go too. Yeah. We could do this again. Let's do another one of these.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I like this. This was fun. It was nice actually chat with you, Ken.
I know, Anthony. Finally.
I know, finally.
My last thing I'll say is postcards versus mailers. The only good thing about postcards, it's 100% open rate. The only bad thing about postcards, it's 100% open rate. So, yeah, they could look at it and just throw it away real quick. If they're actually going to open it, they might actually be more interested. So you might get more engaged leads. But I don't really mail postcards, so I can't really talk on it that much. But
Deb talked about it on the call that's on the Lia's YouTube too. If anybody wants to check it out about the response rate, she basically said what you said, Dennis. Yeah.
For neutrals, I'd say neutrals work for postcards. Anything else, it's probably just like they throw it out. So
yeah, it's good for maybe a follow up kind of thing after a letter if you wanted to do that. But the cost is so similar that you might as well just send a letter.
Send a letter. It's not safe. If it was like a quarter of the price, I'd say do it, but it's not. You're paying for the actual mail doesn't cost you anything. It's the postage.
Yeah, it's the postage. Yeah.
All right, it was awesome. Good chatting, y'all.
Have a great day. We'll do this again soon. See ya.